Hello, welcome back to Main Street.
We are your hosts,
Eric.
and Maddie.
So today we are here with Dr. Kim, our new school superintendent. So, from what I've read up, your last was in Colorado.
It was in the Denver area. Jeffco Public Schools is the second largest school district in the state of Colorado. 77,000 students, about 150 schools. It's interesting because one of the fun things about coming here is we're compact. We have two cities, but really a little bit of others. But Jeffco, when you look at the Denver metro area, it can literally take you an hour and a half to get from one end to the other and from east to west. And so it's about 800 and some odd square miles. So I was so excited that I was going to get to go everywhere, like within 15 or 20 minutes to get to different schools, because normally I'm used to spending half of my day probably spending in schools driving. So I'm really excited about being here.
And so how are you doing Southern California?
There are a few different things that we vacationed here for years and years. It is really one of my husband's and my favorite places. We love the coast. We love, everything from San Diego all the way to Santa Barbara. We have been to as many different little towns as we could find. And I think it's probably because as a Colorado kid, you love going somewhere warm because you're so used to the snow and the ice. And so I was so excited to come. And for those folks that don't know, they'll figure out that I'm a huge Disney fan. So it really wasn't hard to convince me that this was a really good place for me to be. Mm-hmm. So there you go.
So I say you're very hands-on business school for yourself. Why do you think that's so important?
Well, the work I do every day, it's not an unusual day for me to be in meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting. And those are all really important things. I mean, it takes a lot of different people to lead the school district, and having to meet groups of people, to help make decisions, to figure out where our best step is going forward on projects we're doing, all the different things. But the reality is that the most important work we do is to educate kids. And so, the business part doesn't matter if our schools aren't doing great work for kids. And ultimately, I could be sitting in my office making decisions with people that may or may not be helpful to schools. If I don't get out in schools and talk to people, talk to kids and find out about your experience, what's working, what's not, what do you love about school, what are you interested in, and making sure that we're giving you those choices, then I miss a huge opportunity. And ultimately, if I don't know what our teachers need so that they can show up every day and do their best work, then, I'm not leading very well. And so for me, I've been a teacher. I've been a school principal. My work in schools helped me really understand what kids needed then. But now I'm the leader and I don't spend every day in school. So it's really important that I get out as often as I can to see students learning, to talk to teachers and find out what within my work can support them. And I always like to ask the question, what am I doing that's getting in your way? So that I can think about how do I make the best decisions possible and not inadvertently or unintentionally do things that actually just make people's jobs harder. That's the last thing I want to do.
It's amazing, honestly, that you think so well-roundedly about everything.
Well, I've been doing this a long time, and I genuinely try to think about when I was a teacher and when I was a principal and ask what would I have wanted in a leader. And I try to constantly ask myself, what would I have wanted? What would have made my job go well? What would have helped me set up for success? And I really try to think through that lens and what do I need to do so that folks are getting the support that I'm capable of providing.
It sounds like you have a very busy day. What's something that you like to do to help you de-stress after a long day?
Well, I love that you, of course, are sitting here because I have a few of those. I have a few of those real ones. Next to my children, my most favorite way to spend my time is with my horse, Sophie. I have been riding horses since I was about 2 years old. We have pictures that far back, and it's just always been a love of mine. And when I have a hard day, one of the most amazing things for me, you walk out into a barn, and all I have to do is breathe deeply, and my stress lowers. It just happens that way. And so for me, spending time around my horses, they're big, they're very strong, they're very majestic animals. They have such calm and wisdom about them that it sort of puts the world in perspective of like, you're not all that important. Just calm yourself down and be in their space, and you work with them, and they just sort of help you find balance. And so for me, that's something I love to do. And the other thing that I probably spend as much time as I can is in the water. I like to dive. My husband and I developed a love for diving about 15 years ago. And, I will laugh and say the beauty of diving is that when you go down and swim around the reefs, no one can talk to you. And the fish don't care who you are. And so you're in their space, and you get a chance to really see, the beauty that is around you and just their world. And it just helps you realize sort of how small you are in this big world, and to not take yourself too seriously.
On the topic of what you like to do, what would you say your favorite part about your week or day is?
I really enjoy when I get out into schools. That I don't mind doing the work of meetings, of building budgets and plans and all of that. But honestly, if I'm in a classroom, I would get caught up just like that and just seeing what kids are doing. And I actually have to hold myself back from wanting to help because it's just something that I love. In terms of the work I do on a day-to-day basis, it's looking for opportunities to work with people. I'm not a very good by myself person. I learned that a long time ago. I tend to want to bring committees together. I tend to want to bring task forces together. I tend to want to bring, student leadership groups together to think through things and have multiple perspectives, because it helps me think about what we need to do next and next and next. And so I just know that if I'm sitting in a room by myself, I last about 3 minutes before I start getting antsy and going, I gotta have people to work with. And it's just, as long as my energy comes from that.
So human connection is very important.
It is.
And then in your introduction video, you said that education has the power to transform every student. What do you say to someone who disagrees with that message?
Well, I would lean in and ask why. I would try to seek to understand why do they believe differently than that, because I know what my experience has been. I was an incredibly fortunate kid. I grew up with parents who were educated. I had my needs met on a regular basis. I really didn't have to think about basic needs. We got to travel. I got to do all kinds of things. I'm married to somebody whose parents literally had a third-grade education. They grew up on migrant farms. My husband was a second English learner, migrant farm kid who, had he and his 4 siblings not have gotten an education, poverty was the road of life for them. And so when I think about what opens the doors for folks to make choices, for people to make choices, it's education, because education gives you choices. And so if someone has a different perspective than that, I want to understand why. I want to understand, is there something I'm missing? Is there something that I didn't think of? Because I always seek to try to understand for people, tell me more about that perspective. Because oftentimes that will broaden my thinking in a way that maybe I just have blind spots to something, right? But ultimately, what I've experienced and what I know my family has experienced is that education gives people opportunities to make choices. And to me, choices means freedom. It means independence. It means getting to strive to live the life you want to live. And so that's education provides that opportunity.
Thank you so much for speaking with us today, Dr. Guan. It was a pleasure to have you on.
Is that it? Appreciate you, Bob. Appreciate you. You guys went easy out.
Well, I hope you guys have an amazing day, night, or wherever you are.
Bye.
See you next time.